Hello everyone and welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about DNO ASA, which is a Norwegian oil company which is operating in both North Sea, Kurdistan and in West Africa. So it's a little bit more riskier than Vår Energi. They're increasingly focusing on the North Sea with increasing resource base and increasing production. So I think it's becoming a little bit more stable because it seems like more neglected by the market compared to others due to the risk. And it's roughly peaked as of now. We don't know how oil the market's going to go, but it was like 21 kroners per share like in March. And it's also been paying a hefty dividends for like a good while, like a little bit over 8%. That's the resource and reserve, where obviously they have a little bit more reserves in Kurdistan, but they have a huge resource in the North Sea and increasing it also. Majority of their production is now in the North Sea, which is awesome. That it's more and more focus on the North Sea and becoming less risky. Their 1P reserves in Norway in 2024 was 27 million barrels. The next year, the year after, 111 million barrels of oil. So they are really increasing it. They nearly doubled their 2C resources in Norway from 2024 to 2025. So they are like dramatically increasing. As you can see that they are obviously in Kurdistan, North Sea, West Africa. Not the safest places other than North Sea. So you can see there, that's the map of basically the operations. It's like a northern Iraq area, right next to Iran. Very reassuring, eh? But I still think it has some potential. Obviously, this is just my opinion. They apparently have a little bit defenses around the oil facilities in Kurdistan to protect against drone attacks and so forth. Air defense network. So we can only hope, obviously, take that with a grain of salt, which really caught my attention when I was researching the company. Look at the shareholders of the company, at least the most recent one. Goldman Sachs, Folketrygdfondet, which is a huge in Norway. BNP Paribas, which is a company I thought about making a video about because it's increasingly in the emerging markets. It's a bank. Citibank, Goldman Sachs Co. Basically, the majority of the investors are banks and very high net worth individuals. In Q4, they produced roughly 150,000 barrels. In Q1, they produced 131,000. Obviously, as you can see there, the Norwegian one was stable, but the Kurdistan one, probably due to the war, had a dip. But they were obviously net profitable in Q1 compared to Q4, so that's very nice. Where in the North Sea, they produced 88,000 barrels per day. Kurdistan, 36, and West African, 3,400 barrels per day. And they are projecting that they could then maybe start producing up to 100,000 barrels in the Norwegian Sea. When Q1, they made $627 million and 51 million in net profit. Till 2029, they are projecting that they could get between 10 and 20,000 barrels operational. And here you can see those are getting started and the schedule. So they have several projects that are coming operational in the North Sea in next year and 2028, and then some in 2029. So let's hope. They've been performing very well and have been doing quite nicely. So the pipeline between Iraq and Turkey could then assist them with getting a higher margin on the barrels of oil from the Kurdistan one. And if that actually were to happen though. So this company seems very interesting. They are increasingly focusing on the North Sea. Kurdistan is a high risk area, and if everything goes according to plan in Kurdistan and they get a contract up and running where they are shipping oil through the pipeline, they could get a lot more revenue and margins from the pipeline, which would be very interesting. So this company seems like it has a lot of potential though. I hope you have thoroughly enjoyed. Like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day. Peace.